Earth's magnetic poles are shifting, readying to flip. The entire solar system is showing signs of the magnetic shift, and the solar micronova will rain fire across the nearby cosmos in the coming years. If this is new to you, you need to catch up. Watch the Earth Disaster playlist below. It has all of the data, all of the observations, all of the confirmation in readily consumable form. It's not new to the veterans of this channel. We have two things to break down today. First, how the government covered up the truth about this catastrophe, and why they are allowing information to slowly leak out about it now. First, the Charles Hapgood cover-up was one of the most well-designed diversions in history. You've heard of Charles Hapgood. That's the professor who made Earth's crust displacement theory, but it was actually a mutated version of the real story, which was then easily debunked, and which had gained so much popularity that it sank the entire field of catastrophism. But he wasn't just some professor who got famous and made some mistakes. He did this on purpose. Charles Hapgood was a member of the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services. They are the member team of the government that got Major White's Arctic data in the 1940s and helped figure out the real story, that Earth flipped 90 degrees every 12,000 years. This is the data that Major White stole, kept in secret, and then gave to the world decades later. The OSS morphed into the CIA, and Hapgood was a member of that organization. I'll say that again. Charles Hapgood was a CIA agent. But when he became a professor a few years later and began sharing the mutated version of the story, nobody knew of his secret government past. At the same time as the Chan Thomas version, the Adam and Eve story, was being hidden from public view, Hapgood was hijacking the story and making it something that could easily be debunked and, again, would tank the entire field of catastrophism. Again, this was done on purpose, and the only part of Einstein's years of work with Hapgood that remained after Einstein died was a short foreword. The rest lost to history. This is how, through both cover-ups and intentional disinformation, the biggest field of Earth science was destroyed over the last 60 years. There is more about this in the playlist below the video. But it begs to ask the question, why are we allowed to know about it now? Why are hundreds of papers coming out in the journals to allow us to piece the story together? Believe it or not, this is about the satanic beliefs of the elites controlling the world. Think that sounds crazy? You don't have to believe in the existence of good and evil. I'm not even sure the extent to which I believe it. But the important thing is that they do. If you don't know about the satanic beliefs of everything from Hollywood to the people who do make big decisions that affect the entire planet and our entire civilization, I want to do some homework. And the fact that they have such power actually does have ramifications for reality, despite whether or not there is even the slightest shred of truth to what they believe. Now, this might seem weird, but Satanists have rules, and they follow them. The important ones here are about karmic retribution and fair competition. What do I mean by that? This is the example that's usually given for karmic retribution. If somebody takes a bunch of poison apples to a market and just sells them and people die, they've committed murder and they will pay for that. So Satanists believe that. But if they hold up a sign that says, these apples are poisonous, and you continue to buy them, and you eat one and you die, they didn't kill you, you committed suicide. They have no karmic retribution in that case. And the whole idea is they have to tell you what they're doing. They have to give you enough clues to figure it out. It doesn't have to be as simple as a sign that says poison apples. It can be more subtle, and it often is when it comes to these big things. But they believe that they will only get away with, in this life and the next, these things that they do if they follow the rules of karmic retribution, and part of that is fair competition. What does fair competition mean? This means they cannot completely rig the game to the point where it is not possible for their opponent to win, for it is, for it to be impossible for the other opponent to even know the game that is being played. Now, the end goal of this for them is to have the most control, have the most resources, have the most power. When this natural event happens, Earth's magnetic pole shift, the solar system shift due to the galactic current sheet, and eventually the solar micronova and the Earth turning over. This is so that they can usher in the future that they want, where they are in power and where the things they believe in take hold at the utmost high. Again, whether or not there is any realism to the things that they're saying. This is why they are letting this stuff drip out. They believe, honestly, that they have to. They believe there is no choice, that they will not get away with this in this life or the next if they do not abide by the rules of their game. I'm not sure any of that makes sense to a logical person, but again, they believe it. They are holding all the cards. They are holding all of the keys. They are guarding all the pathways to truth at this moment. And it's what they believe has to be done. So, that is, in fact, there's plenty of examples of this. It's why they have to put this symbolism in things like the Grammys and the Super Bowl halftime shows, and with statues that are put up in different places, even what's printed on our money. They have to let us know what's going on. Think about the Balenciaga scandal, where they put literally dozens of hints about their pedophilic nature into their advertising campaign, one after another after another. This is the sort of thing that, from my perspective, I wish these people weren't like this. I wish these people didn't believe the things they believed in general. But if they're going to be that way, I'm sure glad that they believe in fair competition. To be honest, if they are right and there is this power in Satanism, I'm not sure they got to play by any rules whatsoever. Again, I'm not sure I actually believe that the thing is real, but just going under that hypothetical, it's almost like there is a fairness that they believe they have to believe, like they can't win a rigged game. They still have to conquer something. They still have to win. And so let's go back and review. Earth's catastrophe was one of the biggest fields of science, and it was tanked with one story, Charles Hapgood's Earth crust displacement theory. This was done on purpose. We got all the data from Major White. He gave it to his son Ken to put in the book World in Peril. We know what it said. And we know that at the time, the true story of Earth's 90-degree flip every 12,000 years, at the time that the Pentagon figured this out, they were relying on the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services. They were relying on people like Charles Hapgood. And then the OSS became the CIA. They needed to find a way to stiff-arm the public on this information. And so somebody higher up at the CIA came to Hapgood and said, you're going to be a professor at this university, and you're going to put out this version of the story because it can be easily debunked. And we're going to take the recently deceased Einstein, and we're going to slip pieces of this in. We're going to let everybody know he's been working with you so that you become famous. Everybody looks to you as the authority figure. And so when your version is completely debunked, Charles Hapgood, it will tank the field of science and buy us some time to be the ones who hold all the cards, who guard all the keys, who have all the information and can figure out what's going on before anybody else. Might seem unbelievable, but that is exactly what happened. Again, if you're new to any of this, whether it's the cover-up, the severity of Earth's magnetic shift and what's going to happen on the sun in the coming years, go down below the video and watch Earth's Disaster Playlist. It will get you caught up like that. Got a bunch of other good links down there below as well. Anyway, I will see you in the morning for the daily show. Be safe, everyone.